We actually have two sets of what people would hear and say we have bells. But that's actually a little deeper story than what you just first say when you say, oh, we've got bells. We have real cast bronze bells in the bell tower, and we also have an electronic Carillon. The electronic system just allows you greater control over what the bells can do. Now, the old-fashioned way of pulling a rope to ring the bells generally would only ring one bell at a time. And since we have three bells, if we're going to do a three-bell peal, for instance, with all three of them, sounding, chiming at the same time, that would be difficult to do because you'd have to have three ropes and you'd be pulling, one rope, then the other rope, then the next rope, but it would just be really a difficult procedure to pull off. The bell tower is in the northwest corner of the building. It's the northwest tower at the corner of Locust and 9th Street. And it's way up there. It's where the real bells are. And then the speaker system for the digital Carillon is also up there as well. The structure in the tower is a permanently mounted structure where the bells are not actually rung. They are struck with a clapper, an electronically controlled clapper. And in asking around Jim Bryan back as far as he can remember, and other people that I've talked with, there was never an actual rope that rang the bells. We went through a period of time where the bells, either the bronze bells or the Carillon, it wasn't operating. We didn't have bells for a while, and I personally just missed it. I go back to the days in the old Presbyterian church that my grandmother used to be the caretaker for. One of the things that I just always had fun with was looking at the rope and staring up into the attic where the bells were. And to me, a bell is just part of a church. Ringing bells. That's the call to worship for people to come to the church. Many times back in old communities, the church bell often was the warning system for the community. If there was, something that people needed to know about, because they're, before the days of phones and, all the other technology that we have today, the one centrally located building in a community was usually the church, and if they needed to, gather people together for a fire or, some other type of disaster, they would ring the bells and everybody in the town would know that something was going on, and they'd all know to respond. And that was a community service for the church to be able to offer that, in addition to just like we said, having that kind of being the call to the community. It's like the bells are ringing, it's time to get inside, church is going to be starting in a few minutes, let's gather. And kind of an old-fashioned way of timekeeping. We try to limit it in terms of the hour of the day because of our community. We have right now a number of apartment buildings, and people would not appreciate having bells ringing at early hours. So we generally have them set right now to chime after all of our services. We do not have bells that chime prior to the 8 o'clock service because of that respect for our neighborhood. But there are bells that chime before the other two services. The bell system, and I kind of keep alternating, kind of stir things up from time to time. So it strikes at 12 o'clock every day except Sundays, because that would interfere with the times for the bells, with our worship services, and also at 5 o'clock. Just again to keep our bells kind of in the ear of people that work downtown or spend much time downtown, so they know that we're here. The real bells are high up in the attic, accessible only by about a 24-foot ladder that you climb first up the ladder through an access hole in the ceiling, and that only gets you to the first level of the tower. Then from the first level of the tower, there is a wooden staircase, a wooden ladder, not really a staircase, a wooden ladder that you climb to get to the second level of the tower, and that's where the bells are located. You can't be afraid of heights because, like I say, you're crawling up that 24-foot ladder to get through about a 2-foot square hole in the ceiling. You've got to be okay with climbing ladders and squeezing through spaces. But then once you get up into the tower, it's wide open and very accessible, and during certain parts of the year, very hot.